As a young boy growing up in Ogden, Utah, Blair Buswell's dream was to use his hands as a star football player. Well, he did suit up for BYU as a running back in 1981, but didn't see a whole lot of playing time. So Buswell decided to use his hands differently, as a sculptor. And recently, after 30 years in the business, he completed his dream assignment. With the most minute changes and last-minute adjustments, Utah sculptor Blair Buswell captures the perfect image of his most important work of art, the bust of President Thomas S. Monson.
He has a twinkle in his eye, and so I was trying to get beyond just getting the eyes and the ears and the nose in the right place. I wanted to get that expression. I wanted to get the feeling of President Monson.
Buswell has always tried to capture what he sees with his eyes, then translate that to his hands. He loved to work with Play-Doh as a child, and by high school, people were taking serious notice of his work. Then something happened on his mission that cemented his love of clay. An art teacher in his Washington, D.C. area gave him a gift.
I can remember one Sunday, she came up to my companion and I after church, and she said she has something for us out in the car, which every missionary knows that's cakes, cookies, treats. So we were salivating as we were following her out to the car. She opens up her trunk and gives me 50 pounds of clay. It was Christmas for me in July, but my companion was really disappointed.
Buswell turned his gift into this, a bust of an old man he called Mr. Brown.
So I was so excited to get my hands back in the clay. I stayed up most of the night and made Mr. Brown.
Buswell would spend hours practicing his discussions on the bust, a creation he still has in his studio to this day. Then he got an idea. He would use his talent to sculpt lessons during mission firesides.
I was facing the audience and they weren't seeing what I was working on, and I would be working and talking about the apostasy and the restoration. And then at the end I would turn the bust around and it was the head of Christ. It was at that point where I could put my arm around Christ and say, thank you for this talent, this ability, and for the gospel.
Since his mission, Buswell has used his ability to the fullest, becoming one of the top sculptors in the country. He carves the busts for the NFL Hall of Fame, has created award-winning Western art, as well as statues of several famous actors and athletes. But his most recent work of President Monson is most special.
I went up and spent a day going through his scrapbooks, pulling out pictures that have that look I was looking for. Even though I had all the measurements, the length of his ear, nose, and cheekbones and everything there, I was trying to capture what we all remember him at conference and how warm he is with people. He's just really great with people.
Buswell spent precious time with the Prophet and having him pose in his studio. Sister Ann Dibb, the Prophet's daughter and second counselor in the Young Women's General Presidency, escorted her father to the final session.
Ann came up next to me and just said, "You captured my dad."
That's all you needed to hear.
Made my day.
Even better came the day the bust was to be placed in the conference center. President Monson asked to see it first, so Buswell took it to his office and placed it on his desk. After months of fine-tuning and nearly 30 years of training, he was about to get the most important critique of all.
He turned around and he said, "I know that guy."
Do you feel he was really pleased with it?
Yeah, seemed to be. I'm really glad, and looking back, that they gave me that call.